Well, a comprehensive victory for India in the first T20I against New Zealand in Jaipur, and this is a good beginning then for the Rahul Dravid, Rohit Sharma era, like everybody's talking about. This is, of course, Rohit Sharma. In his first T20I match as captain officially, he's, of course, been stand in captain several times in the past, 19 occasions in T20Is before this. Rahul Dravid coached an Indian team in Sri Lanka in the shorter formats. But again, this is the first time he's officially taken charge as India coach after the end of Ravi Shastri's tenure. India have got off to a good start with a 5-wicket victory over the T20 World Cup runners-up, 2021 T20 World Cup runners-up New Zealand. India had, of course, lost to New Zealand just a few weeks back in their second match of the T20 World Cup. Nothing seemed to work for them. India batted first. 110 was all that they managed after being asked to bat, and New Zealand chased that down very, very easily. In Jaipur, spectacular show from the bowlers, especially Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami. A great opening spell from Bhuvneshwar, where he removed Daryl Mitchell early on, an early wicket there. Deepak Chahar was expensive. Siraj was expensive in his second spell after an economical first over, but Ashwin was just brilliant. 4 overs, 23 runs, 2 wickets. Akshar Patel was so economical as well. But India closed it off well. There were these chunks of overs 1 to 5. India dominated. Then New Zealand started attacking on the sixth and the seventh over up until the 15th over, and then India again pulled things back over the last 5 or 6 overs of the New Zealand innings. And you could see Rohit Sharma's characteristic moves as captain, the reason he's been so successful as a T20 captain, whether it's the IPL for Mumbai Indians or for India in the matches he's led over the years. He was just really impressive, and his bowlers delivered. Of course, they debuted with Venkatesh Iyer. He had but Venkatesh Iyer wasn't asked. Well, he didn't need to bowl really in this game because of the fact that the 5 bowlers did their job pretty well. Deepak Chahar was a little expensive, but he'd be pretty happy with the last over he bowled, including the wicket of Martin Guptill. Martin Guptill, of course, top scored for New Zealand with a 70 of 42 balls. He got a lot of good support from Mark Chapman, who replaced Kane Williamson, batter number 3, an impressive 63 of 50 balls. But the 164 was just pass score in Jaipur at the Savai Man Singh Stadium, really, because it's a flat pitch, quick outfield. Of course, the matches are now starting half an hour earlier than usual to account for the dew factor. But India's batsmen were just brilliant. KL Rahul, of course, got out early. Skipper Rohit Sharma, 48, blazing form again of just 36 balls. And Suryakumar Yadav, promoted to number 3 in the absence of Virat Kohli, was spectacular. 62 of 40 balls. Rishabh Pant, handy 17. There was, of course, not much for Venkatesh Iyer to do. One boundary, and then he fell to. he was he lost his wicket as well. And India, they're getting home with 5 wickets, only 2 balls to spare, but they were not really in any kind of trouble. Tim Southee was expensive. Tim Southee, the captain, 4 overs, 40 runs. Trent Bolt was brilliant as usual, 4 overs, 23. His first 2 overs, mind you, went for some runs. They had Lockie Ferguson back in the side after an injury layoff, but he didn't really make much of an impact. He just gave away 24 runs, but couldn't pick up any wickets. Mitchell Santner, brilliant as usual, once again. But the total was never going to be enough for the Black Caps. At the end, India now leading this 3-match T20I series 1-0. Of course, Suryakumar Yadav was named, was named player of the match. The other interesting fact was Rohit Sharma, when he was speaking at the post-match presentation, he did mention the way he got out to Trent Bolt. He got out to Trent Bolt for 48. That this is the kind of trap he discusses with Trent Bolt for Mumbai Indians in the IPL. Of course, Trent Bolt also has delivered for Mumbai Indians over the years, and five-time champions. This is what they have. This is the combination that Rohit Sharma plays with in the Mumbai Indians. Well, then, this was an extremely important game for India, because you look back at the T20 World Cup, they lost to Pakistan, they lost to New Zealand. Of course, heavy victories against Namibia, Afghanistan, as well as Scotland. But that wasn't enough to see India a berth in the semi-finals. New Zealand, of course, runners-up. They lost to Australia just on Sunday, 3 days back. And to turn up and play high-quality cricket, Martin Guptill, of course, He was consistently a part of the New Zealand side. Kane Williamson resting, Kylie Jamieson opting out, Tim Southey, Trent Bolt, these were all these players were all part of the T20 World Cup for New Zealand. Mitchell Santner, they all came up and delivered some thrilling performances. But of course, there's a couple more matches to go. Next on Ranchi in Kolkata, you'd want to see how New Zealand can bounce back. Of course, it'll be also interesting to see whether the likes of Avesh Khan, Ruturaj Gaikwad get a chance in the T20 series. Deepak Chahar was expensive, although he came back impressively within that last over. But it'll be interesting to see how many of these players get a couple of opportunities in the remaining two T20Is. But of course, there's lots more. There's a lot of T20 cricket to be played over the next several months. Remember, India also touring South Africa, where they'll play some ODIs and T20Is apart from the Test matches. So you want to see a lot of a lot of these cricketers get their break there. But while we wait for the second T20, of course, we'll start building up as well, and maybe somewhere along the line you'll see Ruturaj Gaikwad, Avesh Khan, Harshad Patel, all these guys get a match or two in the series and see how strongly they can stand against the T20 World Cup runners-up New Zealand. Thank you so much for joining in. Please do like, share, and subscribe to Sports Today. That's important. Your support is very, very, very important. Till I see you again, have a very good night. Stay safe. Thank you.